Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with a quick update on Bitcoin. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. Alright, so here we got Bitcoin. I'm on the 4-hour right now, and as you can see, after we got this very specific, very choreographed move up to the resistance, and then showed our first indecision candle. After our series of green candles getting larger, and then finally topped out at the resistance, we started forming now this triangle inside of it with the smaller support on the bottom here, and then we basically worked our way out of this triangle and been slowly creeping up since. And now here we are. It's essentially like formed itself into an ascending triangle at our resistance line for the key Fibonacci levels that we were already tuned into. So every time we get up here, we progressively are getting up and then selling off. So now with this one, we've broken through the blue line right here. So we're going to see how this closes in the next hour and 20 minutes. If it closes below our point at 9,000 here, we'll consider this to be broken, and then we'll get that small move down here to 8,700. And then we'll expect, obviously, like that's a key resistance / support line from the ascending broadening wedge that we were in prior to this stab up here. And now we do need to be very careful in this situation because, as we were talking about, this is like an area where we would expect the trend to potentially top out, although I do think we'll probably still come down here and at least retest up one more time and potentially even come up and put in the new high, take out all the stop losses, and finally hit like the 96.30 target, 96.50 target. So that's still a possibility, and that's still a nice move, more than enough to take out like stop losses. But in this situation, we just want to pay attention to that, because I'm not sure that this trend is done. Typically when we have a trend that lasts this long, when we get up to the top, we'll put in like a high, then we'll come back up and we'll either put in a lower high and like double top, or we'll put in a higher high and then we'll come back down, and then stab up again, and then we'll fail to put in a higher high that time. So essentially what happens is we put in like a rounding formation. You put in a high, then you put in a higher high, then you put in a lower high, and it basically tells the market like you're losing strength. You've gotten to the top of the trend, because essentially like the second stab up, when you put in the high, you come back down, and then when you come up again, you have less buyers now this time and more sellers, because you can't get up as high. And that's why it shows the market that you like lost strength. And then if at whatever point in time we lose this green trend line right here, again, when we drop down from that green trend line again, then we would expect us to come all the way down to the yellow trend line. Even if it's not like immediately, we might stop at the fib level right here and get a bounce back up, and then like I said, we'll put in a lower high and then come down to the actual yellow trend line, and then we'll see, does that one continue to hold, as that's our next parabolic trend line. So essentially what happened was we had this blue parabolic trend line was the strongest, and we were able to remain support on top of it, and then we finally lost that and came down, and then that started forming like our green parabolic trend line support, and then we continued to find support on that, and then we finally lost that one, and then we see we were forming the next one, and that one was becoming the resistance. So as we came up here and started consolidating at the resistance and the key fib level, it was very clear that we were getting ready to make this move here. And then as the breakout occurred, it was essentially like a very choreographed just move up, each candle like larger than the previous one with almost zero selling whatsoever. It was very clear that that was like an algorithm being fulfilled, Fibonacci target. So as we march all the way up here and then we hit our target, we were able to take ourselves and finish off with a solid profit. Took the short back down, and like I said too, I almost took profits right here, and then I made the video actually when we were back up here, and it was very clear that I was taking profits when we came back down to the green line, which we did. Took my profits on the shorts and got out of that position. That was a much smaller position, but it was essentially like 5x leverage on like a 9% move, I think it was. So it essentially worked out to about a 45% profit on that position. and then we continue to consolidate up right here. And like I said, I wasn't really planning on taking any positions in this area. I was thinking about taking a short out of this area, but I did not. I'm also watching Ethereum currently. I'd rather just wait for this situation to resolve, because I think this is just going to bounce around in here. And as the range is still like decent to trade, it's gotten so tight and everything, and we're coming up on the weekly close, and honestly I've been very distracted. I'm still working on the courses and everything. It's going to take a little more time because they're actually going to be like good quality, even though they are going to be free. But more importantly, I've been designing a new indicator, and essentially if you're using the crown jewel at any point in time, or the jewel thief, it's very similar to that. But essentially what I've done is, you'll see it's on here 3 different times, and the reason is I've basically modified it so that you can do multiple time frames on a single time frame. So essentially you can be on a 4-hour time frame looking at the indicator, but you can have the indicator showing you data not only from the 4-hour time frame, but also from the daily time frame as well. So what I have basically going on right now is I'm on the 4-hour time frame. This one is showing me 4-hour data and daily data, both on the same chart. This one is showing me daily data and weekly data, both on the same chart. And then this one is showing me 1 hour and 4 hour. Oh wait, I might have actually said that wrong. Yeah, this one's showing me 1 hour and 4 hour on the chart. So essentially what the idea is that by being able to see like multiple time frames at the same time, you can see like the levels of confluence between those time frames. So like, obviously in an area where I have it up here 3 different times, if you see an area where all 3 of the indicators are lining up in the same way, it's probably like a very strong signal. So obviously through here you have all 3 time frames red, so it's telling you on the shorter time frame, potentially we're topping out. On the medium time frame we are topping out, and then on the longer time frame, we're potentially topping out like this entire trend. As you can see on the longer time frame, it's only turned red at the absolute peak right here before that big sell-off down, and then again here we are at the top, and we're potentially like starting to lose this, and we'll get like the cross back here, and then like the sell-off back down to like 7,800, or lower to retest like the breakout area and the yellow trend line. So assuming that happens, obviously same situation in green here. You got the longer time frame triggering here in green, and then you have the shorter time frames both triggering as well. And when you're zoomed out like this and you have the short time frame one up on here, it looks like a lot of jargon and a lot of signals. But essentially the idea is this is made for scalping, and like the main ideal like best signal you can get is like the divergence signal. And there's so much stuff going on here right now, I don't expect people to be able to just understand it, but I've been working on this for quite some time. But essentially when you get the gray bar like this, it's like a counter trend signal. So you're selling off, and then you're all the way at the bottom in the green accumulation zone, and then you're getting a sell signal. So you're getting the sell signal at the bottom of a powerful move, which is typically divergence forming. It's essentially like trend exhaustion. So it means that there's like a bunch of people selling, there's a bunch of price movement with very little selling, or vice versa. If you're at the top of a trend, there's a bunch of price movement up still with very little buying, and that's usually like the sign of trend exhaustion. So essentially when you see like those green bars, it's basically telling you like that's your divergence building, and that's like the absolute like best signal you can basically get. So you'll see right here you get like the divergence sell signal in gray at the bottom of this trend. So it's essentially like the buy, and then the most powerful like trend you can get is like the faded color and then the bright color signal right afterwards. So when it fades green and then you get the bright green, that's like a strong buy after like the accumulation zone, in the same way that when you get the red, it's like a distribution zone and then the strong sell or sell signal. And you'll see here, I actually got a perfect example of getting to watch this happen in real time. And like I was watching this happen where we had triple time frame distribution zone, and then we got the buy at the absolute top of the distribution on the shorter time frame, which is, like I said, that's typically the divergence building, and that was the absolute top of the trend. So but like I said, I'm still working on this, so I wasn't, it's new, so there's not a lot of new things in my strategies, and essentially all this is doing is just combining other information into a more easier way to access it without switching between time frames. But this is another signal it's designed to show you where essentially on a single time frame it's giving you a sell and a buy at the same time frame, and that's basically telling you stay out of that trade. You don't want to be in that trade, because essentially it's telling you, hey, buy, we're going up, and then it's telling you, oh, sell, we're going down. So that's essentially like indecision. So basically you can not take that trade. Same thing right here. You don't take that signal. So essentially like the signal wipes itself out, which is kind of nice. And then obviously the longer time frame it's on, the more important it is. But if you just take like this one out of the picture, it's very convoluted, because typically you want to look at a longer time frame than you're on. So you don't want to look at the 1 hour when you're looking at a 4-hour time frame. You want to look at a 4-hour and a daily. You want to look at a daily and a weekly. You want to look at a weekly and a monthly. But like I said, I was setting this up for scalping, and that's what it's essentially designed for. But as you can see right here, you get the accumulation zone all through the bottom here, and then you get the hard buys. You get the sell on the shorter time frame through the top, but you're still in this trade the entire time. You bought in here, and you're in the trade the entire time until all through here. So people always, when they're trying to show, what trade they took or whatever, they always try to show off like the best area. But I'm just going to take like the middle of the green area right here, and then we're going to take it to the middle of the red area right here. Matter of fact, we'll take it after the sell-off dump right there. So that was a 30.5% move, and you just bought green and sold red. And if you didn't close your entire position right here, essentially you're taking the sell out of this area right here now. So basically you got the buy down there and potentially captured this entire move. And then on the shorter time frames, obviously, you took the buys down in through here, took the sells in the red area right there. Same thing right here, signals red after the strong buy. So like the blue is essentially like a strong buy. It's like a buy signal. So you could take the buy right there, and then you want to distribute. You want to take profits through this area, and then as it's red, and then the purple is the strong sell. So it's telling you like get out of your position. It's getting ready to dump. So then after it dumps down here, you're getting the green accumulation, and then it actually sells back off more. You get the green accumulation, and then this is the strongest signal you can get, like of the basic signals, which is green accumulation, and then the bright green buy. It's like the signal on top of the accumulation, and then you would stay in that trade obviously until you get either the hard sell or until you get the accumulation sell. It's up to you to take, like, and obviously it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. This indicator is not even available, so it's really not up to you to do anything. But one day it will be, and it's up to you to make your decisions or whatever. But the idea is that it's set up to allow you to scalp or take like positional trades on a single time frame. So you can basically take like a buy through here, and then that position is through there on a sell, and then essentially inside of that position you can be making scalps. And then same thing here, you're taking the accumulation, the buy through here, sells, same thing, you get the red distribution zone, and then the hard red sell. And it's not 100%. You can change the settings however you like. These are the best settings I found that work in crypto. Oh, look at that too. While we were making the video, we did get the dump out of that area. So we still have about an hour left, but we came down and we're already testing that green trend line like I was talking about. So, but very soon I would expect basically us to leave this red distribution zone here, and probably like even if we're going to continue the uptrend, we need to cool off the indicator. So at that point in time, it's very likely that where we're going to come back down to is that 382 fib level. I mean, in my opinion, obviously, but I'm right very often, so my opinion is probably a decent opinion to have. But anyway, so now I'm going to go down to the shortest time frame, and keep in mind, again, this is all one indicator telling you all this. This isn't like 20 different indicators I'm using. So I'm going to go back down to the 1 hour now, and you will see the true power of this indicator and what it's really designed for, because now you can see what's really going on. Essentially, when you get the confluence levels through this, it gives you exponentially more powerful buy and sell signals and everything. So when you see like your big green accumulation areas, if you were scalping through this position on like an hourly time frame, you know, you're essentially in here, out at the top. You can take a buy, sell, in here, hard buy, and then look, got you out at the top. Well, not at the top, but nice profit. And then you can take a nice buy. That one's not too good. You still have to use stop losses, everything through here, but you can see the difference between taking like just the signal at the cross, which is the blue and purple, are much less reliable, as where like the greens are telling you like essentially like the trend is becoming exhausted. Same with the reds. And then the actual green and red bars, when you get like those signals, those are like the most powerful of the basic signals. And then when you have all your time frames lining up like this is when it's really giving you like the strength. And then if you take it all the way down to like essentially like the hardcore crypto scalper time frame, you can see that you could obviously like change around, you know, some of these a little bit, but you're not getting like a, I mean, it looks like you're getting a lot of signals when you're on the longer time frames and everything, but like down on the 15-minute time frame with the hourly, it can basically put you in like powerful positions, you know, for nice trending scalps or nice trending trades. I mean, every single one of these is a profitable trade through here. And again, that's just like, that's without even really fine-tuning this indicator. So, but anyway, you know, I've really got a lot of ways to go tuning it out and everything, but it's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to getting to use it. And you know, there's nothing like this available anywhere else. It's extremely powerful, allowing you to basically use a single time frame as opposed to having like multiple charts on multiple time frames. You can get the big picture view the same way you can get that big picture view using like moving averages, by just multiplying like the time frame by like the moving average. So, you know, essentially like if you're on a 4-hour chart, you know, your 1 hour chart's 4 period moving average is the same thing as a 1 period moving average on a 4-hour chart. So whatever your multiplier is, you can change that. In the same way, you're able to use this indicator on multiple time frames to see like the picture of you know, the different time frames. So it's pretty awesome. It's going to take some time to fine-tune it and really get to use it and everything, and you know, get it perfect. But basically, you know, and essentially what I'll do now is I'll go through and I'll start making like the criteria even more strict for each of the signals and eliminating like as many of the false signals as possible until essentially it's giving you like very few very reliable signals. And that's the idea of having it color coded, so you can use like the purple and blue signals to make like trades and do positions off of, but essentially like the red and the green are giving you like much more reliable areas. Like obviously if you took this green buy through here, you know, even once you get up into this area, you're not necessarily worried about getting out of a trade because you're immediately in like a massive profit. You know, in the same way that, you know, if you took like a short through this area, you're not necessarily worried about getting out of this position now because you're getting like confluence on all 3 time frames, you know, up to the weekly, basically telling you like this trend is maxing out. Now granted, because it's a weekly, it can drag on for a long period of time, but you know, that just tells you like, okay, look, we're at the top of a long time frame trend, you know, potentially topping out very soon. So the last thing you want to be doing is like taking buys up in this area for like a longer term position. In the same way that if this was all green, the last thing you'd want to be doing is like shorting this. So it keeps you out of like positions where you're like getting ready to take a counter trend trade that's going to just rip your face off. So but anyway, we'll see how this plays out. It is our Sunday. You know, this obviously has turned more into me talking about the indicator than the actual TA. So I'll probably do like a Sunday night wrap-up video. Obviously, price action's doing exactly what I was talking about in the quick little TA at the beginning of the video. So again, we got like 2 minutes of this hour to close. I would expect us to basically close right down here at this support/resistance in green, and then you know, probably bounce back up and then retest the breakdown point. So I may actually take that trade. Got like 2 minutes before basically it happens. So yeah, that's like a quick 3% scalp. So I actually probably will take that on a nice little position with like 5x leverage. So basically like, you know, if you get in and out with fees and everything like that on a 2% trade, you know, after fees and everything at 5x leverage, it's like 10% of the position. So that's not bad. You know, that can obviously, you know, quick little position like that make your whole day. So I'm going to get out of here, and you'll get to see how that position rolls later on, because I'm going to put it in right now. And, you know, we'll see if it ages well. So crypto trend trader, and I'm out of here.